This is not the internet. This is the metaverse. Hello, pioneers. Well, today we're going to discuss what's been happening over the last couple of weeks, and things have been quite exciting. To start with, around about on the 7th, we had this home screen update where it said that there was going to be an ecosystem announcement on the 14th. Right? And on the 14th, we got this, Pi Network Ventures. Right? It's going to be investing $100 million into Pi projects. Right? Now, I've seen some people get a bit disappointed by this news, but for me, I thought this was great news, you know. So, yeah, let's take a bit more of a look. All right, so we know we're going to be getting, they're investing $100 million. All right, so this is going to be mostly held in Pi, but USD as well, right? So this is the website, right, where you can apply. And of course, for me, you know, I was very excited by this because this meant that, you know, I could potentially apply for funding. All right. So, you know, over the years, you know, I've been applying to many VCs, you know, with not much luck. And, you know, this has enabled me to create a lot of videos on Metaverse, and I've created a pitch deck. I've developed a business plan, you know, it's been continuing. And yeah, so when I came to this meant that I was fully ready and prepared to apply, right? So this is how you do the application, right? This was page one. It's quite extensive, you know, of course. Now, I've done a lot of these things, right? So I can tell you that doing this one was actually not too bad, right? And, you know, all the requirements were quite reasonable. This is page 2 and page 3 that you've got to apply for, right? So a lot of these things were obviously filling out things. You had to upload a couple of videos, right, which was only limited to 10 meg, right? So that was a bit of a chore to sort of get something very concise in there and upload that. But yeah, I had no problems filling all this out and answering all the questions and doing everything. And yeah, so that was great. So I'm all set, right? So IQ Metaverse is now in there for applied for funding, and yeah, we can only go from here, you know, and see how serious Pi Core team are about you know, promoting and supporting Pi projects, right? Because we've been here for a long time. Now, how these investments will work, right? So these will be majority of investments directly in the form of Pi, right, which is what I said before. There is a USD component that can be held as well, but yeah, this is no problem. Now, the only thing here is that, because I mean, I'd be happy accepting Pi, no problem there. The good thing is that, you know, say you get 1 million Pi, right? Well, at current prices, we're pretty low, aren't we, right? So that could actually grow in value, so that's a good thing. The bad side is that when you go to convert into fiat currency, you know, there might be some tax implications for your company. Right? So just something to think about. Now, these are other things that just really just Pi Core team covering their ass. You know, they're saying that you know, they're not obligated to invest the entire 100 mil, right? And these investments will occur over time, right? And they can just discontinue them anytime they want, right? So nothing brilliant there. As we know, this is going to come from the foundation, right? We've seen the foundation stuff before with 10 billion Pi available. So the 100 mil, right, now let's just say that Pi's worth $1, right? That'll equate to 1% of the Pi Foundation funds, right? So it's actually only a small portion. So the whole point of Pi Network Ventures is to take Pi from a widely held token to a widely used token, right? And this is what we've always been talking about with this life of Pi, right? So, you know, like I've always been saying, by the year 2030, we're fully expecting Pi to be a widely used token all around the world. The vision of the Pi Network Ventures, right? Boost Pi utility, enable more of the world's production onto Pi Network, and bring Pi to the real world, right? All good things. This is what we've always been saying. Right? And the other thing is just, you know, that they're going to be practices of a traditional Silicon Valley venture, right, which is absolutely no surprise considering Nicholas's past as being the head of StartX, one of the original founders, right? So, yeah, he's very well versed in supplying venture capital to all the Silicon Valley companies. Now, of course, the big one we were looking forward to was the attendance of Nicholas to Consensus 2025 up in Toronto, right? So this was really good. We didn't know what he was going to be doing or when we were going to be talking and all that, and then we got the announcement, right? So that was good. Other participants were all other AI companies, right, which was interesting. Then we had an addition of another AI company, Kite AI, and then the OG Labs guy dropped out, right? Now, I've seen that some guys had trouble getting visas to attend, so maybe that was the reason he dropped out. And I'm sure that's why the Kite AI was added. Right, and there we go, right? So we've had the talk. It was late at night for me last night. I had to listen to it. Of course, nothing major there that was sort of come out, but I was sort of wanting to get the AI integration here. I thought we might get an announcement there, right? But one thing to notice here was that Pi and a company called Recall was the only one sort of advertised at the top there, which is understandable because both of these were sponsors, right? But they could have picked any other sponsor. So I was curious about what Recall was all about. Now, we know that Nicholas back in Pi Day 2024, right, he was saying how he's going to have a massive open source AI model in a decentralized manner, right? So we know we're going to be looking for decentralized AI. And yeah, that's what Recall does as well, right? So I just wanted to highlight that just because I noticed it at the top there, and yeah, all these others are decentralized AI as well. So we've also got Near AI, right? They were present, right? Building user-owned AI, right? Emphasis on the user-owned here, right? This is where we're talking about Pi Network and having a large community, right? So owning your own data and your identity. Got the guys from Ready AI, they participated, right? And then Kite AI, right? So the only thing I noticed here was that Lele here, she used to work at Near Protocol as well, right? So that's why there was a relationship there. Listening to the talk, the only really highlights sort of things I got out of this was that Kite AI was looking for authorized network, right? So I thought maybe this was, to do with like Pi security circles, or maybe there might be some integration there. Nicholas was talking about decentralization of AI as well, and he kept on emphasizing adding value, right? Now, I don't really have anything to expand on that, but it's just something I noticed. And then the other one was users are willing to pay on a per month basis versus micropayments, right? But these AI agents, right, they don't really have that same skepticism about that, right? So they can ask for data and do transactions and all that, and they're happy to make payments in micropayments, right? So yeah, that's the only things I really took out of the talk. It wasn't really any groundbreaking thing, and as we know, it was 30 minutes. He's only going to get 5 minutes to talk, so yeah, it wasn't really much there. Now, with the artificial intelligence, right, the decentralized AI, I still think that it's going to be Stanford HAI. I think that's where Pi will probably get integration from, but it was just interesting that the other speakers were also decentralized AIs. Right? Now, with this article back in 2019, this was the big announcement of the Pi network, right? And when you read through this article, right, I can highlight some names, right? So this David Mazeres, right? I've talked about him before. He's one of the co-founders of Stellar and the creator of SCP, which is what we use for our consensus protocol, right? And the other name here, right, was this Michael Bernstein, right? So Michael Bernstein, right, he's under Stanford HAI, right? So there's a link there. And if you go to this link that he's got on his page, right, we go over to the Stanford HCI, right? And scrolling down, you can see that a lot of the papers they're writing is on about social computing and all that, which is obviously where CFAN comes in. And you see right here, we've got Nicholas listed as well, right? So I think there's a big connection there. We know there's a big connection with Stanford, and yeah, I just always assume that this decentralized AI will come out of Stanford. So that's it for the video. We've had the launch of the Pi Network Ventures with 100 million of injection for capital. I've applied for it. Some others have applied for it. So yeah, I just got to wait on core team and see if I progress to the next stage of funding. And yeah, we had Consensus 2025 with Nicholas in attendance, right? So yeah, that was all great. Excellent announcements, I thought. Of course, the market didn't agree, right? They didn't think it was so great. We saw the ramp up of price, prior to the announcement. Then it dumped hard when we got the announcement, and it sort of popped again when we had the lead up to Consensus. After the Nicholas's presentation, they didn't like that either, so it's continued to dump. It's going to go down further probably, right? So whatever. For me, I don't really care about the price until it gets above $10, right? So yeah, I'm just going to sit back and wait, see what happens. I hope you enjoyed the video. I thought it was great, and I'll catch you later.